I believe you made your first feature film in 2013. Did you think upon making that your life was going to change?
I guess if I were to ever have a period of my life where I did have a chip on my shoulder, it was in 2012 making that movie. I didn't really I didn't know what was going to happen with it. I was very much focused on just making a movie that I wanted to make and had zero intention of trying to make something marketable or anything. All I wanted out of it was sort of just, I just wanted to open a door and have maybe an agent that can help me make my next movie, or garner the attention of some investors that would finance the next movie. While making it, it was an absolute blast, and I definitely hoped for the best. If you were to actually ask me truthfully if I thought this was going to be my big break, I'd probably say, no, I don't think so. But I just sort of wanted to prove to myself that I could make a coherent story. And I think I successfully did that, at least, when I was 23 years old or so.
Do you really think that's a chip on your shoulder, or more just creative longing, just wanting to make something?
It was probably more creative longing. I mean, it wasn't like in a cocky way. I of course hoped that we would get into Sundance and make $1 million, and there was a small part of my mind that thought that could happen. I could see that happening. Now I don't really think in that way. So when I was younger, I definitely, the whole Sundance dream and selling your movie for millions and millions of dollars was much more of a possibility in my mind back then, whereas now it might happen, but I don't even think about that now. Now I focus so much more on the actual content I'm trying to make and just making the best possible movie I can.
Would you advise other first-time filmmakers, not just a short, but a feature, that it be really more of it's, again, cliche term, but a passion project rather than aiming for this incredible distribution deal?
That's a very difficult question to answer, and I'm sure a lot of people will watch this, and I want to be careful with my word choice because I don't want to lead anyone down the wrong path. Obviously everyone's different, and personally, I think it's important to think, about the business of it, and also think creatively. Just how everything else seems to be a balance in life, you also need the balance of business and creative. At least if you want to make a living doing this and only this, personally, I think that's really important. There are plenty of people who I look up to that not once have ever thought about the business part of things. In fact, they despise it, and they've only focused on the creative part of it, and that's worked out well for them. And then there's plenty of people that only focus on the business, and you watch their movie and you can tell, but the business is really working out and the creativity part of it kind of suffers. For me, I like to keep both in mind all the time. When I'm actually on set or when I'm actually in front of my computer writing, I first and foremost, I do my best to compartmentalize, and I just focus on the story and what it is that I'm actually writing about, what it is I want to say. And then when we go through the revision stage, it's like, all right, well, this might be more relatable, or we might be able to actually call this a horror film if we add a few more, jump scares, or, just sort of add to it, fluff it up to sort of take your original creative vision and make it a little bit more marketable so you can make money and do it again.
What mistakes did you make with 15 North that have always stuck with you, that then going forward with a new project, you always remember those mistakes and try to correct anything, whether it's in pre-production, post?
I think I spent too much on post-production. I think I realized later on that I could actually do a lot more myself, at least in that small of a budget. I could do a lot more instead of spending money and hiring someone else to do certain things. Although then again, the entire landscape has changed, and you're able to do so much more from home now than you were just 7 years ago. I'm trying to think of the biggest mistake. I would say the biggest mistake that I made on my first movie was not spending enough time on the script. I definitely approached the entire project with this attitude of, I just want to make a movie. I want to make it real. I'm just going to keep the cameras rolling and, get natural performances. It's very sort of mumblecore style. And I think that that is good, but I didn't prepare enough. I feel like I could have fleshed out the story a lot more with, just really focus on a more traditional 3-act structure and focus on writing characters with more depth and that sort of thing. If there was one thing I could do over again, that would probably be it, is just spend more time focusing on the actual script.
Do you think that prompted your YouTube channel? Because you give such helpful tips with your channel. Do you think that prompted you to want to start it or no?
Certainly. I mean, I think the content I'm putting out on my YouTube channels is basically just everything I wanted to see, when I was a few years younger. I wanted to see people creating content from home by themselves, and I enjoy that. I love seeing people and what they're able to do without big studios behind them. Would I take a studio job? Of course. But I really get a kick out of this just home-brewed, do-it-yourself kind of approach.
I think your top video is about using the drawing aspect in Adobe.
Oh, yeah. The scribble animation. That's funny.
Did you know that would be so popular?
No, not really. I mean, I know it's a popular effect. But yeah, with that kind of thing, you never really know it's gonna be popular. With our other channel, Social House Films, that's a lot more cut and dry. If you make a short horror film and it looks pretty and the monster looks scary, then it's probably gonna do pretty well. These tutorials, it's hard to sort of be on the pulse of what effect is going to be, the most desirable. Now that TikTok is a thing, a lot of people are trying to create their own effects at home, and so I never know what that next thing is going to be.